Hey guys, Samsung announced their Galaxy Note 3 yesterday, so I thought I'd make a video here checking out some specs and seeing how it compared to the Galaxy Note 2. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the design. If we check out a picture of the Galaxy Note 2 here, it's got a very typical Samsung design, a glossy back, plastic, very shiny, very slippery, picks up fingerprints like no other, but it's very thin and light. And a lot of people thought the Note 3 was going to have a metal design. I can tell you that didn't quite happen, but they did change the material. If we check out a picture of the Note 3 here, you can see that quite evidently. It's got this kind of weird faux plastic material, but Samsung kind of want you to think it's leather, and you can see it's got this kind of weird stitching around the edge. It's not actually leather, it's kind of imitating leather, but it basically feels like leather. It's kind of strange. Initial reports say it feels absolutely fantastic in the hand, although I've seen some people say they really don't like it. But there's always going to be some people that say they like it and don't like it, so you'll have to wait until you actually get this in your hand to see what you think. But nonetheless, they changed the design, they did something different, and you're not going to get any fingerprints on the back of this because it's kind of a matte finish, not a glossy finish. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out some specs. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the specs of the Galaxy Note 3. The Galaxy Note 3 is on the left, Galaxy Note 2 on the right here, and let's talk about the dimensions because I'm actually pretty impressed with this. You can see the Galaxy Note 2 has a length of 151.1 versus the Galaxy Note 3's 151.2. So really there's no difference there. It's basically exactly the same length. Now the width you can see here is 80.5 on the Note 2. On the Note 3 it's 79.2. So it is less wide. And this is all going to be a little bit more impressive when you actually see what they've done with the device as well. You can also see they've made it thinner, 9.4mm versus 8.3. So they've made it less wide and thinner and basically kept it the same length. They've also made it a lot less weighty. So you can see the Note 2 here is 183 grams versus 168 grams on the Note 3. Now that all kind of means nothing, but it's a big deal because they've actually shoved a lot of stuff in this, and we can check out the first thing here. It's the screen. So they've actually put a larger screen in here, 5.7 inch versus a 5.5 inch, and they've managed to do that while keeping their dimensions the same, if not better, and lighter than the Note 2. And if you check out the picture, basically the way they've done this is they've cut off the bezel. So you can see the bezel is a lot thinner all the way around at the top and bottom and around the edges. So it's nearly edge to edge. It's not quite edge to edge, but it's nearly there. So that is impressive. You can also see they've bumped up the resolution to 1920 by 1080 versus the 720p resolution. And of course a higher pixel density as well, which is obvious considering the higher resolution. But they've done all that. They've got a bigger screen and a higher resolution screen while keeping the weight down. So you've got to give it to Samsung here. They've done some impressive stuff. If we move on, both have a micro SD card slot up to 64 gigabytes. We've got internal storage 32 and 64. You've also got an extra gigabyte of RAM here. So you can see 3 gigabytes versus the 2 gigabytes. And that's going to help with your multitasking. It's going to help with all the features that come with the TouchWiz interface. Hopefully it'll keep it all in memory and just be able to handle it more and not chuck it out of memory, and it should be smoother and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you can see they've just packed more into this Note 3 while keeping it lighter. And I keep saying that, but it is impressive. Let's move on to the camera, and you can see they've bumped up the resolution here, 13 megapixels versus the 8. And you'll also notice, which is quite interesting, they have 4K resolution. So you can see this 2160p at 30 FPS. If you go down to 1080p, you can do it at 60 FPS. If you go down to 720p, you can actually do slow motion in 120 FPS. So that's pretty awesome, and I'm quite excited about this 4K. We'll have to see how it looks. Obviously, I don't even have a TV to play that on, so I have no idea how I'm going to kind of show it off. But yeah, you can see it's got Android 4.3 as you'd expect. Now, just with all Samsung devices, they come in two variants. So one of these is going to have a Snapdragon 800, sorry. The other is going to have the Exynos octa-core processor. Both are very high-end. The Snapdragon 800 has the new Adreno 330 GPU, and it's a quad-core clocked at 2.3 GHz. The octa-core has that kind of little big technology where it's Cortex A15 and Cortex A7, high power and low power. Kind of complicated to explain, but it doesn't matter. Either one you get is going to be very high-end. So yeah, let's move on. Let's check out the battery. And again here you can see the Note 3 3200 milliamp hours versus 3100 milliamp hours. Now the Note 2 was already pretty beastie in terms of its battery life. The Note 3 should be better. It's got a slightly higher milliamp hour battery, and so yes, it's got a higher processor clock rate and it's got a high resolution screen, so you know it's got a bigger screen as well, so that may make a difference, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm really impressed because they've managed to fit a bigger battery in, a better processor, another gigabyte of RAM, a bigger screen, a higher resolution screen, and they've kept the dimensions the same pretty much, if not a little bit better, and they've made it a lot lighter. So you've got to give it to Samsung here. They've made a really impressive device. Can't wait to check this one out. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, peace out.